The second principle of homeopathy is the idea of similia, which means that this vital force can be stimulated, can be healed, can be cured by something that is similar in its AC band kar do. Something that is similar to the disease. That is the principle of similia. That means when the vital force is disturbed, symptoms are produced when you give something opposite to the symptoms. So that means it's working against nature. But when you give something similar, so then you are working with nature because nature is producing symptoms. Now, the idea of similia is not only related to homeopathy, it is a very broad principle. There is one story that one woman came to the Buddha and she said, "My son is dead and I want you to bring him back to life." Buddha said, "Sorry, not possible." She said, "No, it is possible, you are lying. You can do anything, you are a great man." So he didn't know how to get rid of her. So he devised a clever strategy. He said, "Okay, I will do it, provided you get me a grain of rice from the house of one in whom there is no grief." So she said, "Okay, I will do." She was desperate mother, no? So she went from house to house. "Did you have any grief?" And then that person would tell the whole story of the grief that happened to him. Next house, another story, another death, another death, another. After hearing 5 times, she said, "Forget it. Everybody has the same problem." She never went back to Buddha. So what did Buddha do? He practiced homeopathy. He said, if she gets exposed to something similar, she will be healed. He was clever, no? Long before Hahnemann, he knew basic principle. So Hahnemann only discovered the idea through China, cinchona bark that is known for the treatment of malaria. But what is interesting is that even today in arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis especially, allopaths produce, they give HCQS. You know, this is a quinine derivative. And what we find in homeopathy is that China, our remedy, produces a lot of symptoms of arthritis. Now, the modern medical doctor has no clue why quinine is useful in arthritis. Are you with me? It's empirically given, there is no explanation. I think they are also practicing homeopathy. They don't know it. So, the homeopathic principle is very broad and can be applied in any sphere, mentally, physically, etc. But what differentiates homeopathy is the minimum dose or the potency. So the idea of homeopathy is the vital force doesn't need material doses to stimulate it. It needs infinitesimal doses, means very, 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 very small. And we use potency. Do you know how small a potency is, how dilute it is? Any idea? Suppose the lowest, one of the lowest potency we use 30, isn't it? 30. 30 potency means it's a serial dilution. We dilute, take one drop, put in another bottle. Serially we dilute. Every time 100 times dilute, isn't it? So when you reach the 30 potency, you've already diluted that one drop 30 times, each time 100 times more dilute, isn't it? So it's 1 upon 10 raised to 60, 1 upon 10 raised to 60, or 1 upon 100 raised to 30. Are you with me? So it's one drop in 10 raised to 60 drops of water. This is a potency, right? How much is 10 raised to 60 drops of water? Any idea? How much water will it be? 1 followed by 60 zeros of water. How much water is it? 1 followed by 60 zeros drops of water. How much water is it? What do you think? Is it like a bucket full of water, lake full of water? What do you think? Roughly. Make a rough guess. A sea full of water. What do you think? Say something. Huh? A bucket full of water. Okay. Huh? Say. Put 1 followed by 60 zeros. Those many drops. And in that so many drops, you put 1 drop of original substance. How much water is this 1 10 raised to 60 drops? What do you think? Speak. Say something. What do you say? How much water? 1 big drum of water. Whoa. Okay. Well, it's a little bit thoda sa off mark. So I'll tell you, it is 1 cube full of water. You know what's a cube? So you take a cube and you fill it up. Now what do you want to know about the cube? One side of the cube, right? What's the length of one side? So you can imagine how the cube will be. So one side of the cube, the length is 100,000 times the distance from the earth to the sun. That's what I calculated. So if you take that kind of cube, can you imagine that cube? Your entire ocean will be 1 drop in that cube, isn't it? So that's the size of the cube. You fill it out with water and you put 1 drop of something. And then you stir it nicely, hopefully with a big spoon. But we don't need so much water because it is serially diluted. So you are only taking 1 drop from the first bottle, putting it in one. So all that you need is just 100 ml of water 60 times, 30 times. That's all. You need less than a liter. Let's put it like that. So that's the potency. And so there's always the controversy in scientific circles. How can it work? And the answer is very simple. The answer is in science always is not how it can, but whether it can. So the first is data of observation. And data of observation in homeopathy is very positive. Whoever has observed homeopathy closely, they know that it works and they can see that it works. And there is ample evidence, statistical evidence, clinical evidence. But people have to be open to see it. Not start with the idea, it cannot work. Now I want to prove that it cannot work. This attitude, then anything you show them, sorry, this is not correct, you're lying, this is not correct. Means anybody who comes with an open mind to say, I want to see if it works. And if it works, then I want to find out how it works. Not start with, it cannot work, it is impossible, because it does not fit into the tenets of science as I know it today. So science doesn't work like that. Science works first by observation and then trying to understand how that phenomena can happen. Are you with me? But many people today, they feel challenged by this. They say, no, this is not scientific because I cannot understand it. That's a little bit of a